All right, everybody, welcome in. Thanks for joining us on this Monday with Coach Holgorsen. We'll get started. If you have any questions, use the raise your hand tool, and we'll get you in the queue. First up, Mark Berman from Fox 26 is going to get the first one today. Mark, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Hey, Dana, how are you? What are the challenges of now going on the road for the first time, given the environment and everything involved with that?
Oh, let's see. I don't think it's really going to be a whole lot different than what we've been doing, just because the travel party is going to be so small. The amount of guys that we've took to the hotel here in Houston will be about the same thing. You know, probably add maybe a couple administrators or whatever, but it's different than how it's going to be in the past and how it's probably going to be in the future. I mean, usually these road trips are. You got a lot of people going, you know. I mean, there's been times where I've took family members and stuff where, Cougar Pride would take a couple dozen donors and stuff, and there's a variety of things going on, and, away tickets and how many people are going to it. Just none of that stuff's going to exist to the point where it's probably going to be a little easier to travel. I mean, our routine will pretty much be the same throughout the course of the week, trying to keep our bubble as small as we can, and then, hopefully have a better week of practice this week than we did last week. It was one of the issues going in, from identifying what happened last week. But, Friday we'll load up the buses after practice. We'll go straight onto an airplane where, there won't be anybody but what our travel party is. We'll land, we'll get on a bus, go to the hotel, and then our routine in the hotel with not being exposed to anybody but ourselves will be the same. And then we'll go to the stadium where it'll be the same as well. So I don't know, Mark. I mean, it's going to be different. I think it'd be similar to what we've dealt with the last 2 weeks, but different from what it's been like in the past.
Thanks.
All right, next up, Greg Bailey, ABC 13. Greg.
Hey, Dana, you talked with us before last time out about the importance of the play up front. What did you think, particularly defensively up front? How'd you guys held up after looking at the tape? And then how different of a challenge is it this week for them?
I thought we did okay. I thought we held our own. I mean, it was one of the things that Kalani said to me, in our conversations after the game. He was impressed with our physicality, and thought we did a good job against the run for the most part. They got a couple out on us late. They got a couple of quarterback scrambles, which, Zach Wilson's a fantastic football player, and he's a little bit more mobile than people want to give him credit for. But, he got out on a couple of scrambles, but I thought we did a good job against the run. Their big plays were just too big. We had about the same amount of explosive plays as they did, but they doubled our yards. I mean, their explosives were really explosive. I thought we did a good job up front for the most part. I thought we showed improvements up front offensively. They're a hard team to run the ball against, and Kyle almost had 100 yards. I thought he played really well. Things just broke down in the fourth quarter. Our sacks were in the fourth quarter, and our negative plays were in the fourth quarter, and their run game stuff, was pretty good in the fourth quarter. For 3 quarters, we were great. For 1 quarter, we were bad. And that's everything, including the physicality of what I was looking at up front.
Next up.
I'm sorry if I could.
No, go ahead, Greg.
What is your view on how your defensive front can play this week? A lot of people think that their look offensively takes away some of the aggressiveness. And that seems to be something that you guys do awfully well.
Yeah, I feel okay about it. We did a decent job against it last year, other than the quarterback run. And their quarterback run last year that dude was special, and we couldn't tackle him. But from being gap sound and all that, I think we can carry over from what some of the things that we were trying to do last year and just be a year better at it. So there's always challenges when you play Navy. We don't really have to go into that. The one thing that we're going to focus on this week more than anything is just being more disciplined. This is a good week to be able to do it because you better be disciplined against these guys. And it's not just up front defensively. It's everybody on defense. It's everybody on offense because they do so much stuff on their defensive side of the ball. It's every bit as tricky for our offensive staff this week to prepare for these guys with the amount of blitzes and fronts and movements that they do. And then special teams, they're sound. They're a top 10 special teams team. So you better be disciplined there too. Our undisciplined nature with how we played last week is unacceptable. We did too much stupid stuff, and we're going to focus on being a more disciplined football team. And when you play this team, you better be dang disciplined. So we got 7 days to talk and work and think and focus on being disciplined as a football team. And this is a good opportunity to go play a team that you better be like that or you're going to get beat.
Next up, Rob Sellers, 247 Sports. Rob.
Thanks, Coach. The undisciplined plays from the BYU game that you talk about late in the game, are those type of things that you recognize? They seem like there were some things that rarely happen and probably can be addressed. Are those things that you feel are poking their head out of something you guys need to fix, or one of those anomaly type things that just happened, all the bad things happened at once, so to speak, in the BYU game?
Yeah, I think just the frustrations of playing a really good football team kind of set in a little bit. I mean, BYU is an extremely disciplined football team. So it came to light playing those guys. They're good, they're experienced, they're mature. They've had 5 games under their belt. All that stuff. I mean, I was really happy with our team's effort and our team's physicality. We just kind of lost our mind a little bit. We let some, and this is my fault and I got to get better at it and work hard on it, but we let some of the calls that were happening, good or bad, kind of affect our mindset a little bit from a referee perspective, and that can't happen. The physical nature and the competitiveness with which BYU plays and the discipline with what they plays, that got to us a little bit. And we did a couple of things that we should not do. We're still learning as a football team. A couple guys that got warned for a variety of things were guys that have been on the team for a couple of months. So it's a collection of things, and things like that come to light when you play a really good team. And BYU is a really good football team. And if we want to get there, which I think we can, we got to learn from that. And that was the big message to our team yesterday. And we didn't have a lot of this stuff throughout the course of the previous 13 games since I've been here. So I'm not concerned about it. It just needs to be addressed, and we need to work hard on it. We need to clean it up, and we need to become a smarter, more disciplined football team.
Next question, Andy Yanez from the Daily Cougar. Andy?
Yeah, Coach. I know it's still extremely early, but have you had any sense of what the team's identity may be on either offense or the defense yet?
Pretty vague question. Don't really know how to answer that. We're still trying to figure out who we are. And I think that was a huge advantage for BYU. And again, I said this in the press conference, I'm not going to keep saying this very often, very much more, because you do kind of start to figure out who you are after game one, get from game 1 to game 2 to game 3 to game 4, somewhere in there, you get it kind of figured out. BYU knows exactly who they are. Navy knows exactly who they are. We're still trying to figure that out. I think this is a huge week for us to address some things. Yeah, I did see a lot of improvements from game 1 to game 2, but that we're still trying to figure out exactly who we are. I think from what happened yesterday in our building, which was really good meetings and work and focus, to practice last night, which was very, very focused and beneficial to us being able to get ready for Saturday to win I know on the plane on the way home from Navy who we are. I think I have a pretty good idea at that point. Right now, I don't.
Back to Rob Sellers. Rob?
Coach, you feel like all the extenuating circumstances surrounding the season has created a lot more parity in the American this year? And do you think that lends itself to truly like anybody could win this conference this year type of thing?
Yeah, I think so. Just watching everybody, there's a lot of good teams out there. but I don't see anybody being very dominant at this point. I mean, there's, I think parity across college football is something that becomes a little bit more equal every year, maybe for the exception of what's going on at Clemson and Alabama. But, in our league, which couldn't have been more impressed with the level of play in our league last year. And we competed in every one of those games for about 2 quarters, so hopefully we continue to gain depth and gain players and game shape and understand it takes 4 quarters to be able to compete. And I think we'll be in every one of them this year.
Got time for a couple more. Anybody have questions? Just use the raise your hand tool really quickly, and we'll get a couple more in for Coach. Back to Mark. Mark, go ahead.
Dane, I know you touched on a little after the game, but how did you come through this thing health-wise?
Better than game one. We were without 7 guys that played in game one that couldn't play in game two. Of those 7, Garrison Vaughn's probably the most long-term. How many of those guys will be back? That's going to be a day-to-day thing, from Jack Freeman to Jacob Garza to Marcus Jones, to Deontay Anderson to Jordan Moore to Nelson Caesar. And then I already mentioned Vaughn. How many, Vaughn's out. He's going to be out for a little while. Hopefully get him back here, this year. The rest of them are day to day, to the point to where we're going to look and see how they do on Tuesday and how they do on Wednesday and go from there. And then it's a everyday deal, man. I mean, we did COVID testing yesterday and we'll do it again on, I think Tuesday or Wednesday and again on Friday. So it's just a daily conversation. So we'll see how that goes.
I know that y'all had some.
Don't worry about it anymore. I mean, our team knows good and well what we're up against, and everybody else is the same, right? I mean, it's going to change week to week for every one of the teams that we play too. So we're going to coach the ones that are here, and we're going to coach them hard, and we're going to get them ready. And when guys can play, they're going to play, and when they can't, then the next guy needs to step up and play at a high level so we can win. So that's the mentality that we're in, and we're not going to use that as an excuse, and we're going to coach the ones that are here today and play the ones that are ready to go on Saturday.
I know that y'all have had continued to have great success with your COVID protocols. How is that going now? I know you said you got tested. Still same success?
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, it's week to week, and we can't be specific with it. I mean, there's gonna be things that are gonna happen. And some of it's not even any of their faults. It all depends on contact tracing and who they're around and all that stuff. So it's just part of the world that we live in and something that we got to deal with. And I think we're dealing with it pretty good at this point right now.
All right, guys. Rob, got one more? Go ahead.
Yeah, I got a quick one here. Coach, where do you feel like Clayton's at in terms of his development? In the games, it feels like you can see him going through progressions, but obviously that's a layman looking at it. What do you see in terms of his development and going through progressions and making his reads?
Yeah, he showed improvement with, he didn't have anything that was real bad, which, that was one of the things that we focused on after game one. Your bad can't be that bad, man. So I thought he played well. I thought he was more poised. I thought his accuracy was off the charts good. His decision-making was good. Our protection was good for 3 quarters. It kind of broke down late. But he did a good job of sitting in there and making some throws, so I thought he did good against a good team, and excited about him just continuing to progress and develop the necessary timing with the guys to be able to have success in the passing game. And he's still running the ball a little bit too much. He got spooked a little bit late, which I can understand, because there was some busts up front and some breakdowns up front that got those guys into the backfield. You could tell that. Last thing I mentioned on BYU, you can just tell that they're an old, mature, seasoned football team. And when that thing was tight going into the 4th quarter, they made some plays. That onside kick was the greatest executed onside kick I've ever seen. They made some plays and they elevated their game. And, that forced Tune to kind of scramble around a little bit more than I wanted to. But for 3 quarters, I thought it was vastly improved. And then for the entire game, he did a good job of just not being bad.
All right. I think that's it, everybody. Appreciate you guys for joining us. We'll send out a recording shortly. If you need anything, let us know. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.